WagerTalk TV. I am Kelly Stewart at Kelly in Vegas on Twitter, joined by Tony Finn at Finn at WagerTalk on Twitter, and Eddie Boron at Eddie Boron on Twitter. You make it simple, unlike Tony, who I've got to get that Twitter name fixed. I butcher it every single time. All right, guys, it's a Sweet 16. March Madness, round 1 and 2 was awesome. I was really happy with the results. Hope everybody out there betting was as well. But we're going to talk about Tennessee versus Purdue. Now, this one's interesting. Tennessee pick'em I saw earlier yesterday. Now Tennessee -1.5. This is a Tennessee team I bet against the other morning. I had Iowa, and I literally went back to bed. I got up, worked, did my normal CBS show, bet my games. I bet Iowa. I was like, this is ugly, and I was like, I'm going to take a nap. And I woke up, and it was in overtime, and I was like, holy hell, I might cash this ticket. Sure enough, I did, but I don't know if I'm quite wanting to bet against that Tennessee size again. Those are some big boys, and they did not hesitate to bully around a smaller Big Ten team, which Purdue is somewhat similar in that same aspect. Tony, I'll start with you.
This is not your father's Purdue team, with that question. Typically, they're kind of a lumbering, big play inside out. This is more of a guard-oriented Purdue team. And my ratings, my rankings for the Big Ten are not as high as they've been in years past. I think they overseeded Michigan State. People will argue with me. And the Boilermakers really took advantage of this being overplayed, that they beat the reigning champions. But what they did was they beat them up on the boards. And Villanova's not. They're a middling team as far as rebounding goes. And when we get to the Sweet 16, I have some variables that are pretty important: talent, coaching, and matchups. And this is a Tennessee team that learned last year from Sisters Jean's prayer. On that one
Thanks
shot.
for the reminder.
Exactly right, Custer. And I think they'll grow from that. They schooled, and I mean absolutely schooled Iowa. Iowa played like they played all season. I thought, in my opinion, they weren't very good defensively.
They were just really inconsistent all season, and they showed inconsistency in that game. The first half was terrible. The second half was monster.
And Tennessee, I think, got a little conservative.
Yeah, I kind of took their foot off the gas a little bit.
Turned the ball over. Yeah, and I like Tennessee here. I like Tennessee. Purdue's
Seems like the market likes Tennessee. I mean, it's moving that way. Yeah. Eddie, I'll go to you. Thoughts on this matchup as far as this Tennessee team was the #1 team in the country there for a little bit, but I kept saying, hey, they really haven't played anybody. The SEC is tough this year. We've seen some really good teams come out of there. But as Tony just alluded to, the Big Ten has really had a great presence in this tournament. Your thoughts on this game?
Basically, when you look at it, I watched last week when Purdue played Villanova, it was a thumping from the beginning.
Absolutely.
In Tennessee against Iowa, like you were talking about, I had the under in the game, so the overtime was special for me too.
I didn't need overtime. I just wanted them to lose by less than 8.
Yeah. But they both can play the same way. I mean, Purdue can grind it out, and Tennessee can too. I mean, they both can play. They can fly down the court, and they both can play a grinded out style. Now, the difference that I think is when Carson Edwards is on, I mean, they become almost unstoppable. But when he's not, which a lot of times he's not, he can be a hindrance to their team. And so it's really going to come down to what I think is how the guards are matching up. And that's just my opinion. And I do like the under in the game. I would lean under anyway. It has been, it's stayed basically. The line hasn't moved much. We've had basically no movement. Till this morning, we've had some movement this morning. Like you said, opened 1. It's 1.5 on Tennessee. But for the side, I mean, I think it's a pick 'em the whole way. Other than that, that's basically
we know that fading the public has been pretty good so far in the tournament, and that's not something I generally pay attention to, but during Super Bowl, during college bowl games, stuff like that, when you do get so much public action, especially during March Madness, it is something to consider here, and that's kind of how I looked at this. I said, holy hell, the whole world is going to bet Tennessee in this game. In my personal opinion, but then Tony kind of, mentioned when you do beat the reigning champs, you may get that backing as well. So I'm kind of back and forth on this game in myself, but you're for sure on Tennessee.
Williams, Bone, Schofield versus Edwards. I'll take the 3 against the 1. Edwards doesn't show up. This game's over.
All right. Eddie makes a great point about Carson Edwards. Do you have a final word on this one?
Basically, I would look at playing the under, and that's the only way I would. I'm a totals player, so that's basically what I look at.
Awesome. Great stuff from both guys. WagerTalk Text Club, it's 100% free. Just text WagerTalk to 33222 to get a $10 coupon for signing up, plus free picks and other special offers.